Welcome to the Tall Girl Tuesday podcast. It's your girl Danny, and on this week's episode of News and Libations, I will be discussing how I found out that my ex was cheating on me for the second time. Yes, the second time, because of course once was not enough, right? So anyway, let's get into it. Now, it's a lot of different moving parts, but if you stick with it and, pay attention, you'll see how it all comes together. So this all started around November of last year, when he had been acting weird and not talking to me and not speaking to me and just MIA, literally. And I'm like, I'm tired of this. Always say a prayer. And one thing that I learned is that when you pray for things, you have to be prepared for what you prayed for. And this is living proof of that. Because I tell you, I said that prayer and immediately my answers were, my prayers were answered. And so as I said, it was in November of last year. And he was acting weird, ghosting, MIA. And I'm like, didn't really understand because it's not like we were beefing anything. He was just whatever he was doing. And like I said that prayer. And within a couple of hours, someone who had always been acting so interested in me and always commenting on my pictures and DMing me and all of that hit me up, which is not unusual, but I had time this day. So interesting, but I had time this day. And I'm like, you know what? I'm sitting here. I'm doing nothing. I'm like alone. If anything, why not entertain it to see what's wrong with like building a friendship with somebody? So that was my mentality going into it. He had video called me from Instagram. I guess that was the new thing. And so we were talking just random stuff. He's telling me how long he's been trying to get my attention, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, you had already knew I was with someone because I've told you that on several occasions, for number one. And then number two, you've seen me post this person in my story. So, and you've commented like leaving heart eyes, which is weird that you left it on those particular stories. And it wasn't often because I'm very private. I don't post my business like that. And I'm not one of those people. But, if somebody's attempting to pursue you, naturally you're going to have to tell them like either you with it or you not. And if you give her excuse as to why, then you do. So he had already knew. And so this particular day we're talking, and I don't know how we got on the subject because he does party promoting in addition to owning a cigar lounge. So as I said, pay attention because it's gonna get crazy. So we were talking, and I smoke cigars, and he's been asking me and trying to get me to come to his cigar lounge for at least a year. And I'm always like, no, because I knew he was feeling the kind of way towards me. So I just wouldn't put myself in that position I'm not even going to waste your time like that. And, but one particular instance, I was looking for a fantasy football, league to join. I was last minute. I'm that girl. I'm into the sports. I'm into all of that stuff. So looking for a fantasy football league, put it on Instagram. Like, let me know if anybody has a slot open. He hits me up. I have one more slot left. This and that. This is what the fee is. All of that stuff. Give me the details. And I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, I'm looking for a place, but your cigar lounge is kind of far. He was like, I've been telling you for a year now, anytime you want to come out here, I will pay for you to get there. I'll pay for your ride home, whatever you want. I just want you there. So I'm like, all right, well, this is a little bit of a different situation. I'm actually getting something out of it because I was looking for a team. I'm like, all right, so why not? It's at the cigar lounge. Get me a couple cigars. Do this fantasy draft. It all sounded, pretty decent, right? So, and then it was approaching the day for the draft. It hadn't come up yet. And then I mentioned it to my dude because my dude had already known that this guy liked me because, number one, he used to see the comments and stuff that he used to leave under my pictures and stuff like that. And we used to talk about it. So, like, he already knew. And so I brought it to him. I'm like, listen, dude having a fantasy draft at his cigar lounge. Like, how you feel about that? Because, like I said, I'm transparent. I know that I'm going to check in with my dude to see how he feel about me going to an establishment where there's someone who's blatantly expressed that they're interested in me, right? So I said, let me give that courtesy. And he was like, not with it. So keep up, y'all. He wasn't with it. He's like, you couldn't find another league, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no. And then he's like, well, that's kind of far. How was you going to get out there? And I was like, telling him like, yeah, like he even offered to pay for my transportation. Now, the only thing I was skeptical about with that is I don't be wanting people to know where I live. So in order for him to do that, he would have had to have my address, and he wasn't about to know where I live. Like that was like the thing that really made me decide not to go. So yeah, dude wasn't really with it. He wasn't feeling it. He was like, he wasn't with it at all. So it's crazy how you think about all of the things after the fact, and you start putting those pieces together, and it's like, wow, the signs were definitely there. So anyway, I didn't go, and like I said, fast forward back to this past November, and we were talking about that. Then we started talking about party promoting and different events, and he kept asking me like, who was your dude? Who was your dude? And I'm like, I was telling him like, why is all that important? I said, but he do security. I've seen y'all in pictures together. So y'all are definitely in the same space. So he's like narrowing it down. And then he finally narrows it down to my ex and his brother. Now you have to know that my ex and his brother are basically twins. Like they look alike. Their stature is alike. Everything about them is alike. So once he narrowed it down to them two, he said to me like, oh, well, it can't be him because he's with old girl. And he said the girl name. And I'm like, wait, who are you talking about? And then I knew it was real because he named one of the other occupations that my dude had. And that still wasn't enough for me. I'm like, nah, he got to be talking about the brother because he can't be talking about my guy. So I'm like, who are you talking about? He was like, oh, I'm going to show you the dude I'm talking about. So he goes to the girl's page and takes some screenshots and sends them to my phone. So mind you, like I said, we on video. So, you got to like pause it to go look at whatever somebody sent you. And then when I looked at the pictures, my heart like sank. Literally like left my body. My brain left. Everything was just no. And I was like in that state for a couple minutes. And he's like, you good? Like, what's up? It took me a while to respond. And then once I came back to the phone, I was like, well, I guess we have the same boyfriend. And he was like, get the F out of here. Like, you talking about this dude this whole time? Him? Nah, that can't be right. He with old girl and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, I see from the pictures that you screenshot me that he's definitely with her. I said, I guess we both were with him. And I was asking him like, well, how do you know her? And here's the thing, y'all. She was the receptionist at his cigar lounge at one point. So now you see how this is all coming together, right? So while my dude didn't want me at that place, for obviously more than one reason. The whole time his other girlfriend worked there, unbeknownst to me. And I'm just sitting there like, wow, this is not happening to me. And then to throw salt on the wound, one of the pictures he sent me was just like of her, like some selfie or whatever. And I look at her arm and I realize, she has the same exact bracelet on her arm that I have. That's not a coincidence. So it's like, wow, another shot. And I was just sitting here like, wow, he is really out here like living double and triple lives. Like, it was so crazy to me that one of the pictures he screenshot happened to be one where she's wearing the same bracelet that I have in a different color. Like, who raised these guys? This is at this point, I'm like, wow. Still like unreal. And at that point, I'm like, we talked for a little bit longer, but I'm like, you know what? I gotta like go. I gotta a lot on my mind. I need to like get my thoughts together and all of that. So he was so apologetic, and then he kept texting me even after we hung up, like, I'm so sorry that you had to find out this way. I feel bad. I don't want to be in the middle of it. I'm just so sorry. It's crazy that you found out that way. That was his demeanor. And then literally like the next day or so, he's like inviting me to his family's house for Thanksgiving, asking to come see me or asking to take me out. All of these things literally within a week. And I'm like, you do realize what I'm going through, because you basically brought it to the front, to the forefront for me. So you realize that I'm dealing with a breakup at this point, and you're still just like trying to shoot your shot. This is not the right time, my guy. Like, I need some space. Surely this is not the right time. So, in the midst of all of this, I'm just like, dang. He was being nice and friendly and, at least trying to be a friend from what I thought. The ex was still MIA, not really answering the calls, texts, of course, because what he's going to say, like, this is the second time he's done this in some type of capacity, and me finding out through social media. So, literally about a week after all that happened, the dude who was initially so interested and so down and kept asking me to give him a chance, I can count on both hands how many times he sent me his number in my DMs. All of a sudden, I don't hear from him anymore. He went ghost. I haven't heard from him, haven't talked to him. I'm like, I don't know if it's because he was pushing so hard to get me to like be around his family and stuff like that. I had to tell him like, I'm not ready for that. Or if his agenda really was only to give me this information and get out. Y'all have to let me know what you think about that. Like, was he sincere, or was he just like plotting for a while to finally get my attention so he could tell me how this one really ain't shit? Let me know what y'all think. So that whole situation was crazy to me. And I'm like, wow, is you really be ready for what you pray for, and be ready because you will get those answers. And it's like, wow, this is the second time this happened. Same guy. Like, I'm not about to do this again. I'm not naming names because none of the parties in this situation even deserve that on my platform. So I'm just being vague about that part. But I really could not believe that was happening to me. And on top of that, I can't believe it's happening to me at 34 years of age. And it's like, not even trying to gas myself or trying to sound, not insensitive, but sound like, that I'm different. Well, I'm just going to say that in the past, if anybody I've ever been with cheated on me, I didn't know about it. I didn't know about it during the relationship, and I surely still haven't found out until this day. So to actually be in a relationship and have this happen, not once, but twice with the same person, that's a lot. That was a lot for me to deal with at this age and at this point in my life. Because of course I hear about stories and talking to girlfriends and like, oh, I've been through stuff like that. And I'm like, yeah, but that's stuff that you do in your 20s, right? I mean, aren't we grown at this point? Like, I don't know. I feel like I'm really experiencing this so late in life. And I'm not saying it as if I'm old, but I'm saying it as if, I don't know, it hit a little bit different at 34. I will say that for the first time ever dealing with this, it hit different. And one thing I will say that I learned about this situation and my takeaway is that I was never asking for much. I was never, being unreasonable. And you really got to trust your gut and I don't know. I not be so naive or, ignore the signs, because when I really sat back, even to this day, and think about it, it's like, wow, the signs were there, and can't say that I ignored them, but maybe I didn't act on them, aggressively enough to avoid prolonging a relationship that obviously wasn't for me. So it's been quite interesting, that story. And I'm glad that, one thing I will say, a plus side of all of this, is that I'm glad that I'm a private person, and I'm glad that I take my L's in private. Because imagine if I was one of those women who post all of, all my business and my relationship and everywhere I go and every date night and all of that stuff on my page. I would be out here looking crazy. And then we have a lot of people that we know in common. So it's like, wow, two people got the same boyfriend. You know what I'm saying? It's just a whole mess. So at that point I had to get rid of people who knew we were together and were also friends with her, in terms of, doing some research. And I had to start cutting people off. And I told them, this is the reason why I can't rock with you anymore, because at the end of the day, you knew that my boyfriend at the time had a whole nother girlfriend, and you just let me, you didn't even warn me, or you didn't even look out for me. So now I'm curious to know what do y'all think about that? Would you want to know if you were in that situation? Would you want somebody who knows you to tell you, or would you just want to find out some way on your own? And for me, it was like, nah, don't. If you know something that's out here that's a fraud and out here making me look bad, and a person that doesn't have my best interests at heart, please let me know. Please let me know. I want to know. And that's what their angle was. Oh, I thought you knew, or it wasn't really my place to say anything. But so if you feel that way, then obviously our friendship is not that deep, and then we can just continue on with life as if we never knew each other. And that's what the point that I got to. And people were like, oh, you were a little bit petty for that. Or some people like, nah, I definitely understand why you felt the way you did. I'm like, look, I don't care about your opinion of how I chose to do it. I did what's best for me. And that's my attitude moving forward, is me first always, which is how it should be anyway. But, we lose sight of things when we're in relationships and we in love and all of that. But like I said, I'm definitely glad that I take my L's in silence, because I don't have anybody asking me what happened, or what happened to the relationship, or why we don't see this person, that person, because they never saw them anyway, especially in terms of a social media, on social media. I'm not that girl that posts anything. My business is my business. The people closest to me know. I don't need the internet to know my business. So I want to know, what you guys think about that. Do you have any stories where something like this happened to you? Have you ever been ghosted? Do you even think, oh boy, do you even think the dude that brought it to my attention ghosted me? Or do you think he actually was interested? And being that it the chips landed the way they did, do you think he just kind of fell back to give me some time? And, I want to know what you guys think. I want to know if you guys think it was his plot and plan the entire time that we've known each other, or that he's been in my DMs and all of that. Do you think that he was trying to prepare me or warn me ahead of time? And the crazy part about it, I just keep thinking like, wow, my ex smoked cigars too. So every time I would see him with this certain type of cigar, it's a special, like, custom, like, flavor. I used to think he used to always say he picked them up from the lounge, but lo and behold, he's never stepped foot in there from what I heard. So he was getting the cigars from his other girlfriend and smoking them with me. Isn't that something? Like, why do people play the games that they do with other people's lives and with their love and with their hearts? Like, why do people do that? I don't understand. And like I say, keep in mind, this is the second time around. This wasn't the first rodeo. So it's like, at some point, it wasn't just one. It wasn't just two. It probably was three of us. Who knows how many of us? It's just certain things. It's like, come on now. You can't keep playing with people like that. But, very interesting. I think that one is going to be the one for the books, and the one that will forever stand out, because I'll try my best moving forward to avoid any type of situation or any type of anything that would cause me to be in any situation where I'm not respected or appreciated, or where you blatantly have someone out in the open expressing y'all's love and relationship and all of that to the masses, and then you got a whole different relationship that's low key and quiet and not out here on Front Street. It's so crazy to me, and I'm struggling with the fact that this is happening to me so late. And let me stop saying late in life as if I'm old, but I think y'all understand what I mean. Like, having to deal with this in your 30s, almost mid 30s, it hits a little bit different than when you 20, young and dumb in a sense, and just out here living life, not really taking relationships too serious. I mean, I'm older. It's different. But definitely give me your feedback. Email me your thoughts, your comments, your questions at tgtthepodcast@gmail.com. And if you listen on the Anchor app, you can send me a video message recording. Let me know what you guys think. I did have those main questions. Did the dude who initially told me about my guy at the time's other girlfriend, was he ever interested, or was this a game? And then, is that considered being ghosted? Did he ghost me after it was all said and done? Because surely I didn't hear from him after that. And let me know what you guys think. I am curious to know if you guys have any cheating stories with the exes that were unusual or off the wall, or something that you really had to sit back and put the pieces together, like, wow, this really happened. And I'm even surprised that I'm sharing this information on this platform, but it was on my heart to speak about it. Now, granted, he listens to my podcast. He does. So this will be his first time hearing about how I found out that he was cheating for the second time, and the receipts and the facts that I had that led me to, that led to our downfall, essentially. So he'll be listening in. I'm sure it's not something that he wants to hear, but I don't care. This is my platform. I'm sharing, trying to be a little bit more transparent with you guys and let you in on some things about my life. Like, yeah, I've been through some crazy things too. Like, it's also has me just wondering, like, what's the bounce back? What is the bounce back like in terms of moving forward, or not really saying making sure this doesn't happen again, but, you know, finding ways to, I don't know, because it's like you're one of those women that snoop and sneak and, you know, dissect every comment a girl leaves under your guy picture or things like that. Then you're looked at as being crazy and all of that. But then it's like, that's like the easiest way to find out some information, because I don't know. But we hadn't been social media friends for a while before this happened. So it's just like, wow, once you really put all those pieces together and the way that it happened, it was just, I thought it was something that you guys would be interested in hearing. So anyway, without any more rambling, let me know what you guys think about this story. Tell me if you had any experiences where social media, you found out through social media that the person you were with basically ain't shit. Or, you know, any type of stories where your ex was out here doing the most and acting as if, you know, they'll never get caught, or like they're that smooth with that they can carry this out for however long without any type of, you know, consequences to it. But to sum it all up, I am grateful for the dude who gave me this information, because there's no telling how long I would have been in that situation, oblivious to actually what's going on, and just out here being represented by a guy who isn't deserving, you know? But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Thank you guys for tuning in. And again, my email address, tgtthepodcast@gmail.com. Let me know what you think. I want to hear some feedback. And thanks for tuning in as always. I'll catch you guys next week.